ABC reports that the first black female Supreme Court justice is to perform in a Broadway show. This is the headline. I love how in Europe, when we introduce people to the public, we focus on their credentials. So it would be Nobel Prize winner, nuclear physicist, Dr. Albert Einstein, PhD. Like, you present the titles. You don't go and say, cisgender Ashkenazi Jew, Albert Einstein. I mean, it's not wrong, right? Like, he was a cisgender Ashkenazi Jewish person. But that's not the defining element. That's not what is important when you talk about Albert Einstein. What is important is that he had a PhD and he was a physicist, because these are things that he worked hard to achieve. The fact that he is an Ashkenazi Jew, well, he was born that way. Was no achievement. Like, the moment he took his first breath, he became it. And that was it. Like, the thing that makes him different than other cisgender Ashkenazi Jewish people, as well as other people in general, is the fact that he won the Nobel Prize, and is the fact that he did research in nuclear physics, right? Maybe I'm getting something wrong and he didn't get the Nobel Prize, but I'm just triggering autistic people correcting me now. It's like, dude, are you not able to listen the spirit of the conversation rather than what I'm saying? My point is that in America it's different. In America, your identity is like the credential. Do they use it on resumes, by the way? Like, if you say you're the first cisgender Latinx, like, does that matter in the hiring process? Is that how it goes now? Like, the nuclear physicist PhD part, that comes later. Like, first tell us the important bit. Do you call the vagina the University of Life? Like, where did you get your education? I became a cisgender white man. Horrible. Who did that to you? My parents. Good God. Is that how it's like? I keep seeing it in the American media. So usually the media is the connection between the people and the reader, right? Okay. So we got, again, as ABC says, this one got like, wow, 33.3 million. Jesus. First ever black female Supreme Court justice.
Negative reaction to it. Like, I hate it. Which makes me think it must be brilliant.
I can't show more because, not because of the cringe, but because of copyright. So the copyright is protecting us from the cringe. But it did spark an interesting discussion. A lot of left-leaning folk. It's almost like it's on a political compass, right? Like, this is not an objective thing. This is not like, let's see how people are thinking. No. It's entirely spread on ideology. Left-leaning people are like, so what? So what if she's on Broadway? Why are you judging? You're judging her because she's a black woman. They're mind readers, left-leaning people, right? Like, without even talking to you, they know. How do they know? Because they can't see pattern recognition, but for some reason, they're able to peer into other people's brain. Okay. There's other right-wingers that say, and if she was doing OnlyFans, would that be okay? The answer is yes. I have seen Democrats campaigning with OnlyFans account. Like, that's not the problem for them. No, the question is as follows. Should we have decorum? Like, is there something that people that are judges on the Supreme Court that maybe they shouldn't do, even if it's legal? Striptease, for instance, right? But let's not even go there. Let's not even go to striptease. Can they do embarrassing stuff in public? You know, can they get drunk under a table? Can they party like it's 1942? You know, like, can we assume that there may be some things that people in high positions of office, like the Supreme Court, shouldn't be able to do in public? And the answer from the left is no. And then it's okay. Must we respect those institutions then? Because respect is a two-way street. Like, if you want respect, you need to behave in a certain way. And unfortunately, that certain way is usually crafted by PR teams and people that manage your image. Like, would you see Chairman Z doing this? No. Chairman Z would never. Do you see Vladimir Putin doing it? No. Okay. Why? Why aren't they doing it? Because they care about their image, right? Like, they have people smarter than you, experts, because I know the left appeals to experts, that are telling them, if you do this, you are going to lose public image. And this is what it's about. It's the public image. No one is saying she can't do it. No one is saying that. People are saying, as a Supreme Court justice, you shouldn't do it. Also, she doesn't seem to have talent. So it begs the question, did she get the role because she is a Supreme Court justice? Like, did she get the role of Supreme Court justice so that she can accomplish her dream on Broadway? Because that would be a little bit problematic, don't you think? So anyway, right, like that's my take. Now I want to point out that I'm not against lawmakers doing OnlyFans. This would probably shock Americans. It's like, oh my God, V, how can you say that? No, seriously, I'm not against lawmakers doing OnlyFans, doing striptease because, and hear me out, right? I'm going to lecture Americans about democracy. I'm going to blow their mind now. I think that the representatives in office should reflect society. I don't think that the government, when you talk about the Senate and when you talk about the legislative, I don't think that all of them should be doctors, lawyers, and engineers. Because society itself is not filled with doctors, lawyers, and engineers. And so if you want democracy, representatives need to reflect their people. And some of the people do OnlyFans. Some of the people do striptease. Find out what is the percentage. And then I assume, like you may have like 1 or 2 people in the entire lawmaking that they do OnlyFans. Now, why is that important? Why is that actually good for democracy? Well, if you're talking about taxing OnlyFans, if you're talking about banning it, if you're talking about expanding it already, well, those people will defend the interests of the individuals in that industry because they pay taxes, right? Didn't the Americans tell me no taxation without representation? They did. And so how can you tax someone without being represented? If a law passes and you have like some twat that does OnlyFans and wants to talk to her representative, well, she actually now has one she can call. That person isn't going to judge her and is going to understand everything that she talks about, is going to know about the auxiliary, the manager, the lighting, the camera crew, everything like that. They're going to make decisions. So no, like if it's about the lawmakers, I wouldn't care if they sing on Broadway. If it's about judges, that's different, right? Like judges are a different type. They're not there to represent people. They're there to enforce the law. They're representing the government, and the government as a whole isn't doing OnlyFans or Broadway. Like the government as a whole does demand a certain level of decorum. But as people who represent your citizens, you should have plumbers, you should have farmers, you should have everything. Like every type of profession that pays taxes should have people in there that represent them. Americans believe, no, it should be based on race. Okay. I mean, what else can we say if that's the talking point? Based on race, but take into account that Obama wasn't representing all black people and blah, blah, blah. All right. The reason I even bringing it up is because in Romania there was a scandal that one of the ladies in the parliament does OnlyFans. And I'm like, okay, there's 300,000 Romanians that do OnlyFans. Why shouldn't they be represented? And it's like 300,000 that actually do it. But like there's also auxiliary. There's managers, camera studios, right? Let them have representation. What the fuck? Everyone should have at least one person in parliament that represents them. And a representation means your job. That's what it means. It means like if you're paying tax money, then you should get that representation. So like if you're a plumber, you need to have like some plumber there so that when you go and you talk with a lawmaker, it's like, okay, they want to tax plumbers, or I want to start a new business, but I'm bumping myself against regulations. And when you want to talk about that, you should have a person that genuinely understands what you're going through, genuinely knows what you mean, right? So that you don't have the situation like in the United States with a person on, I think it was, a farmer. And he was saying, well, the reason I need the AR-15s is because I have hogs on my property. And people were laughing. It's like, why can't you get a pistol? right? Like, you don't want to talk with individuals like that. You want to talk with another farmer that knows what it means to have hogs on their fucking property, right? Like, that's my take on it. Assuming that you genuinely agree with, like, no taxation without representation. The thing with the judge, again, for the leftist, number one, I'm sorry to say this, she doesn't look very talented. Number two, how did she get the job? Did she get the job because she's a Supreme Court judge? Because that's the next line of thinking. And number three, do you want the position to have decorum? I don't see Clarence Thomas doing this. I don't. I don't. And before you bitch and complain, do you think there is a single PR expert that manages politicians and carefully crafts a person's public image that would agree that it's a good idea for somebody in her position to do Broadway? Okay. Well, let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.